So we're on to talk number 3. We have Marjorie Cellier from McGill University, and she is a postdoctoral fellow. I hope you're ready for this noble talk. We're going from pastures to p-values, and let's see how data augmentation can supercharge cow behavior research.
Thank you for the introduction. So yes, today we'll talk a little bit more about data and different methods of data augmentation or data generation. Because the literature shows that studies in ethology or in behavioral ecology often use too few animals. And it's really related because of our field, because we have some limitation when we want to use animals, right? We have some ethical limitation. We don't want to multiply unnecessarily the individual, and we have to justify the good use of our animals. We can also have some logistical limitation, if I can say that, in terms of we will use animals with more or less long life cycles. We will use animals that are living in groups, animals that are more or less easy to breed, etc., etc. So all these factors can, at the end, reduce the number of animals we can use and also reduce our statistical units. But it's not all about animals. We also have to consider more technological or practical aspects. For example, if we want to have more individuals, more data, it means that we need to have more storage, for example. We are using a lot the annotations from videos, but it means that we need to have more videos. More videos mean more storage. And it also means we need to have more human power to annotate these videos. And if you are doing annotation with software, you know that it's really, really time consuming to do that. So all these challenges linked to data are significant and are diverse. And in our field, we often come up against, if I can say, a wall. So it's a small sample size, because a sample size is not always based on the statistical aspect. So we will result with a low statistical power in our analysis. And currently in ethology and behavioral ecology, the average power to detect a small effect is around 13 to 16%, and for moderate effect is around 40%. So in other words, it means that even if the effect exists, if it's a small effect, we have more than 80% of risk to miss it. And if it's a moderate effect, we have more than 50% of risk to miss this effect. So it's huge. So when we have a non-significant result, is it because nothing happens, because there is no effect, or it is just because we don't have the power to see this effect? So today I'm going to discuss an avenue we've been exploring with my team, so the data augmentation or data generation. We decided to use one of our experiments on enrichment on dairy cows in Python. So really quickly, our design involved 2 types of counts. So one, it was a standard model, and the second one was the enriched one with chains and tape, just to try to stimulate a little bit more the exploration of these counts. So we worked with 10 Holstein cows over 2 weeks with a crossover design. And we collected behavioral data with GoPro's camera, and the data was then annotated with the Observer software for a session of 45 minutes of video per day. And we used only 2 days a week. Behaviors such as licking, sniffing, pushing, grooming, etc. were observed as a percentage of time spent doing the interaction, and data were analyzed through a linear mixed model. So the preliminary results show that there is no significant difference between the 2 types of counts, for the percentage of time spent doing interaction in general. And when we are looking at the type of interaction, regardless of the type of the Kong, we've seen that there are a difference between the interaction with more sniffing and pushing compared to the other kind of interaction. But now the question is, can we really trust these results? And we saw in the introduction that we are not allowed to have this question. So just for a quick exploration, we did the post-hoc power analysis by simulation, and we got a result of 16%. So it means that even if the effect is real, our study had only 60% of chance to detect this effect. So that's low, but it's still in the average found by other papers. But it's not because it's the same that the other are found that we cannot go further. And that's where I'm lucky, because I'm definitely not a stats person, but I'm part of the Wallet share, so that's the interface between animal science and data science. So with the UCAM lab, we decided to dig into this problem. And our starting point was really simple. If we cannot add more cows because of logistics, money, etc., can we add more data, but without adding any real animals or any annotation time? So we decided to start a kind of interdisciplinary team project. In other words, we challenged around 15 students, data science students, under the guidance of 3 leads, to look at our data, to delve into the literature, and also to test data augmentation or data generation methods. So the first step was to look at what kind of data do we have. So of course we have our data from video annotation. So we can look at them as frequency and duration, but we can also look at them as time series. So it means a sequence of behavior when you know the order of appearance of this behavior. So you can consider the temporal aspect. And we also have all the videos. So in our case, it's 80 videos. And as you can see, she is using the Kong, but in a way we were not expecting. So the groups of students have explored different methods as data generation, so to create new synthetic data from models, often using artificial intelligence techniques, and also data augmentation, where the aim is to artificially increase the size of the existing data set by creating variation from real data. So we will see really quickly an example of these two methods. So the first approach, the data generation based on the annotation data, so as time series, we tried the parametric bootstrapping method. And the idea is to generate synthetic cow behavior 45-minute sessions by sampling from real data distribution. So we will use separately the two experimental treatments in order to increase the data set while preserving overall statistic properties. So it's like putting all the behaviors and the probability of occurrences in a hat and just throwing randomly the behaviors to kind of create a new synthetic cow. So we started to do that, and this is just a preliminary results to show you that when we compare the probability of appearance of behavior, the synthetic behavior, and in the real data, so far so good. The curves look pretty similar, so we are pretty happy with that. But it's really a first step of looking at that. So the second approach is to augment the videos, or rather to modify the videos. So the idea is really to change the scene without changing the cow. So we are really looking to increase dataset diversity and robustness by augmenting existing videos via background replacement, using segmentation model to simulate a variety of stall or barn environment without altering the animal's behavior. And I'm pretty sure what you are thinking now, why are we doing that? We are doing that because we have to think about not only about the tabular data, but about behavior detection algorithm. And it's one of the toolkits we are currently developing in Weli. So we are trying to detect automatically the behaviors. And if we want to do that, we have to feed the algorithm. So it's why we need to have a more kind of videos and with different shots. So we can have videos that are blurred, we can have videos that have different background, we can have videos with different cameras view, etc., to train the algorithm to recognize different behaviors in different situations. And really quickly to do that, the students have created a mask. So they have selected what they want to keep from the original videos, and after that, just add a new background in this video. So we are really augmented the video bank in this case. So when we are carrying out experiments in ethology, we can have different kind of data, other than just the frequency and the duration of behaviors. And with all this kind of data, we can try to develop methodology to increase our data set. I only presented two of this method, but there is others, and we are working on. So our next step is really to see which one we want to push forward, which one is the most promising, and do we want to choose the simplicity? Do we want to choose the ability to capture temporal dynamics, or to have to test the compatibility with existing tools? So it's what we have to do for our next phase. So today I know it's not the kind of presentation we are used to. I didn't have any data to present to you, but I think it's important to show you this kind of work, because it's a work of a whole group of students who are not even in the same field as us, but who are worked really hard to show that there is a potential for reinforcing our behavioral studies with this kind of method. And to my mind, is a very important area of collaboration between different fields. Thank you.